place I've never been to before. Well, I've been to it, but not for many, many, many years. Long Island City Yard. See a couple of diesels, DM30AC, 504 with a K5 LLA and 410 on the near end. Saw that engine yesterday on 2712. K5 LLA heaven. We got 413 here also. I'll get him pulling out, blowing for the crossing at Borden Avenue. And you're looking at the Long Island City Station. It's a very small platform. Just holds 2 C3 cars, it looks like. I think this is train 656 for Port Jefferson that's going to be leaving soon. Well, I'm at the 11th Street crossing. I've never stood here before in my entire 67 years on this earth. This is a first. We're at the east end of Long Island City Yard. This is where the connecting track to Hunterspoint Avenue separates from the Montauk Branch, heading east towards Jamaica. Looking west into the yard from the crossing, you can see the high rises that have sprouted in this neighborhood recently. And at a right angle to the 11th Street crossing is the Borden Avenue crossing. This road runs parallel to the north side of Long Island City Yard, and it's electrified on this section between Long Island City Yard and Hunters Point and points beyond. Looking east towards Hunters Point Avenue station. Yeah, they do run some electric trains into Long Island City, mainly during the AM rush hour. And standing right alongside 11th Street, you're looking at the east portal of the Queens Midtown Tunnel. It carries the Long Island Expressway under the East River into Manhattan. Well, this is 656 starting on his journey to Port Jeff. He's got 407 on the point. Cricket I found in my bedroom this morning made more noise than that. It's so noisy, a little extra noise won't make that much of a difference. Well, he's heading around the corner to Hunters Point Avenue. Well, he'll pick up some more passengers before heading east. And the gates are going down on 11th Street at 403. 2743's equipment is coming in. It runs from Spion to Jamaica, then he deadheads to Long Island City to go east. out of the yard and stationed in 412 is equipment for train 2712. Long journey to Montauk. And the gates are going down on Borden Avenue at 452 for train 560. Long Island City to Oyster Bay with DE 30AC 413 on the point with a K5 LLA horn, but I don't know if they're going to blow it very hard here. Of New Jersey Transit and Amtrak in the background. Do it very hard here, supposedly. There are a lot of NIMBYs in the area. And we're back at the 11th Street crossing, looking east on the Montauk Branch. You'll note the sign. It's freight only today. Used to house a couple of Oyster Bay trains each way years ago. Now they all run via the main line. 504 coming out of the yard is the equipment for train 662 to Port Jefferson. He originates out of Hunterspoint Avenue. He's got DM30AC 504 with another K5 LLA horn. And we're by Hunterspoint Avenue station now. You just saw an Empire Service equipment come out of the yard, heading into line 2. And you're looking at a 7 train on the MTA subway diving down into the tunnel, and his next stop will be Hunterspoint Avenue, the Long Island Railroad station of the same name I'm standing on. Hunterspoint Avenue station is where most of your rush hour diesels originate from, other than the ones that come out of New York. One of the neat things about this place is you get to see traffic coming out of Sunnyside Yard going into line 2 tunnel, as well as Amtrak trains from New England. Here comes a New Jersey Transit set of equipment heading into the line 2 tunnel. He's picking up speed as he's diving into line 2 tunnel. You can see trains of all kinds here. Long Island Railroad diesel trains, few MUs coming to Hunterspoint Avenue. Everything that comes out of Sunnyside Yard, all the equipment, including that Empire Service P32 you saw, as well as Amtrak trains from New England. Hunterspoint Avenue is unique. It's one of 2 stations on the Long Island Railroad that has all of the vowels in its name. The other one is Copeg, and that only has 8 letters. As that number 7 train climbs out of the tunnel, his next stop will be 45th Road Courthouse Square. You can see how much Long Island City has mushroomed. Skyscrapers everywhere. Hunterspoint Avenue is the only other station besides Penn Station, New York, where you can see Amtrak trains up close, revenue Amtrak trains, as well as all this equipment out of Sunnyside Yard. The equipment trains out of Sunnyside Yard favor line 2 tunnel. Line 4 is pretty much used by Long Island Railroad trains going into New York. There's a set of Arrow MUs from New Jersey Transit. The tunnel for line 4 begins right there at that fence where that sign says line 4. That's the tunnel portal. You just heard an Amtrak train come out of the tunnel. There's an M7 heading from Manhattan. And looking east behind that signal, you see another fence. Notice the sign that says Line 3? Well, that's Line 3 coming out of the tunnel there. And to the right of that is Line 1. Here comes an ALP 45DP power train going into the tunnel out of the yard, Sunnyside. Only place you can see New Jersey Transit trains and New York City subways. In the distance, you'll see this Long Island Railroad M7 drop down into Line 4. There he goes. Heard him blowing his horn for the tunnel. Here's the equipment for train 664 pulling in, bound for Port Jeff, with number 521. The K5 LLAs are really invading Long Island City today. All right, at 5:40, approaching Line 2 is Amtrak 2169, the Acela Express, Boston to Washington. He's moving. Vowels are in the name of that station, although it's not a town, but it is a station. Well, here's the equipment for 555 from Oyster Bay at 542 coming into Hunters Point. You may be going all the way to the yard. A New Jersey Transit Veterans ALP unit. Subsequently be train 3959, one of those Princeton Junction expresses that go to Trenton. Here comes an ACS 64 with some equipment for a Keystone train. 248, off goes 664 bound for Port Jefferson. If you like variety, you can't beat this place. We got some Arrow MUs from New Jersey Transit heading for Line 2 Tunnel. I'm going to stick around and take train 668 out of here, bound for Port Jeff. Get off at Jamaica and change from my train to Lindenhurst. Before that, I hope to see Amtrak 137 and 55 go by. All trains sound their horn entering the tunnel. You get to hear that AA2 horn from Westinghouse on that thing. Well, at 6 o'clock, approaching is the equipment off of train 655 en route from Port Jeff to Jamaica. Then he runs deadhead to Long Island City. I believe this will make my train out of here, train 668 to Port Jeff. Number 405 that has a nice K5 LA horn on them. It's train 698 from Port Jeff. It's due out of here at 608. That used to be numbered 666, but superstitious people on the railroad decided to renumber it. Those number 7 trains just keep coming. Express that just came out of line 1, and the Long Island Railroad M7 came out of line 3. Well, at 6:08, here comes a revenue Amtrak train, 137, from Boston to Washington. Track 55, the Vermonter from St. Albans, Vermont to DC shouldn't be too far behind them. And Long Island 698 is departing for Port Jeff. recognize the engineer on this train. I don't know his name, but I've seen him many times working this train, and he's always given me a few extra toots. Seems like a friendly guy. Approaching now at 6:14 is a train that came a long way, the Vermonter, number 55 out of St. Albans, Vermont.